Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So this talk is going to be slightly different from the rest of the talks. We don't have a particular product where we can show all the cool augmented reality stuff, but I wanted to present an IEEE view and the way we see things as AR enabling different verticals within the smart city ecosystem. Before I start, how many of you here are IEEE members? Okay, at least I have a few of them. And how many have heard of IEEE? Okay, that's much better. So you just don't want to pay your dues. So that's okay. And thank you for those who are paying their dues. Okay, so I have the clicker somewhere here. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I think here I'm preaching to the choir here. The future of work for certainly is definitely on augmented reality and wearable computing. It's about putting more digital information on top of an analog world that we see, and also what it leads to is improvements in safety, quality, training, and performance. I think people talked about more and more usage of augmented reality for training platforms, improving the quality of products, and also safety. I'm segmenting this talk in about 3 segments, a few minutes on each of the segments. One I want to focus on is on electric safety. We have in IEEE what we call as the National Electric Safety Code, and AR in utilities is, I have a couple of slides on AR in utilities. Then I want to move it to the verticals of the smart cities, apart from the electric safety code, and talk about the different requirements that are coming from different verticals. And finally, I will just put a brief plug on what IEEE is doing in emerging technologies and in AR space to complete the talk. So it really helps in connecting data, connecting people, and situational awareness. I think we are moving from what was predominantly a textual and a 2D process to a more visual and interactive way of doing things. The last speaker talked about industrial IoT. I think there are these are fairly initial numbers, but people are seeing some significant gains in time reduction and error reduction. There was a report that got published last year, I believe, between a research that was conducted between Iowa State University and Boeing, where they were talking about assembling plane wings and whether it was faster doing it with AR-enabled apps or with the 2D text, and they found a significant reduction in the time. I think what we are doing still is essentially the same. It is just transforming the way we do it. So I will talk a bit about the National Electric Safety Code, and for those who do not know what National Electric Safety Code is, this has been a code that has been there for a very long time, for about 40 years. And this is basically on talking about installation, operation, and maintenance of electric supply and communication lines that are associated with the particular equipment. And the code itself has a few structures to it. It talks about supply, grounding, transmission and distribution, and about work rules. And particularly, is there a pointer? Yeah. So where am I in the pointer? Okay, anyway, so the work rules, they talk about the safety rules for working with electrical systems. We have been working mainly with EPRI for a couple of years now, and they are taking a very strong interest in how augmented reality can enable some of the inspections of line equipments. You can see as you are driving past on the roads, you can see some of the line equipment is at a certain height, and there are some safety measures. So they are really looking at some kind of headset displays which enables the utility worker to do some line inspections being on the ground without actually having to go close to the lines. So there is a broad field of visualization of underground and aerial plants that can accelerate the installations. And also there are instruction aids that can do some rapid troubleshooting in some cases, and also particularly in terms of remote access to distributed experts, because you can see these lines going across these cities, and they are very widespread. So here we are talking about how to access remotely these experts. So I think in this particular, and I think particularly in the US, you talk about always there is noise when there is a storm, you have restoration scenarios. I think these are the cases where they are strongly looking at how augmented reality can enable the need and quickly access the need for the repair and what needs to be done in these situations. I think this has a potential value in enhancing the performance of utility workers. I think it's interesting that we are talking about utilities here, because if you look at the power utility segment, typically that is the segment which will not think about really modern technologies. I think it is very interesting to see that in the case of augmented reality, now they are really adopting this technology as a way to enable some of their workforce being more productive. So basically, it's enabling the, if you look at these poles, these are about 30, 40 meters high, and they are now looking at moving it from a visual to a more interactive form. So I think, there was a report that was published by the 2015 construction technology companies, and apart from the utilities, apart from industries other than construction, there are people that are using drones and wearables to monitor operations. The San Diego Gas and Electric became the first utility service that is using drones to monitor these kind of transmission lines. So now we are looking at augmented reality along with autonomous vehicles to do these kind of activities which have been predominantly human-driven and possibly error-prone and also safety-prone. So I think what we are also connecting back is we are looking at quite a few of the standards that are enabling these kind of ecosystems. When you are looking at the oil and gas industry, or when you are looking at communication through the drones, I think one of the needs that we want to do is, and we saw several of the displays that are out there, I think there is definitely a need for standards to come into play when these applications are being developed. You cannot have 20,000 different models that are going to be out there, where building applications on top of these models is going to be extremely complicated. So now, talking about AR and smart cities and how it improves the life of citizens and driving the technology for smart cities. So it is becoming an important component of smart cities. Now we are talking about a lot of cities adopting AR applications. For example, I do not know how many people read the news on the Fort Lauderdale Downtown Development Authority. They are definitely looking at apps that are developed by the civic resources. So now they are doing actually city planning using augmented reality apps. I think that's a very important aspect when you are developing complex systems. I think having a tool that like AR supports some of the development is extremely useful. So I have some use cases here. I will talk about few of the use cases on the different verticals that will require the support for AR technologies, and then we will look at how IEEE supports those kind of technologies. AR in surgery, I think I do not know, what the hospital ecosystem is like this in modern developed cities, but definitely if you look at developing countries like India and China, where there is a need for these kind of technologies. You have very remote places, inaccessible places, where these kind of technologies, where you are able to do a remote surgery through augmented reality, will be extremely important. I think one of the challenge that we are seeing in this particular space, especially when we talk about AR in surgery, is the ability to transform very accurate, high-resolution 3D images between the remote place to the application. I think those are some of the challenges that people are currently working on. For example, we are looking at EEG sensors. I think this morning somebody talked about AR applications on the medical devices. We are looking at temperature, heart rate, and brain activity. I think these are some of the things we are looking at, how AR applications can enable these kind of medical aspects. So in terms of mobile AR applications, we talked about city planning, but there is also quite a lot of AR that's happening in the transportation segment. At least I have seen these are all not what we call as futuristic. These are systems that are being already deployed and implemented as we speak today. For example, accessing information on bus routes and landmarks. For a minute, okay, I think I should be good. People are using smartphones and AR technology. AR in industrial IoT was already talked about. There's quite a significant development of AR in sports. There is a stadium in Mumbai where you can play cricket with the use of augmented and virtual reality. It simulates the whole stadium, and you can actually have a real life experience with playing the game. Tourism is another important aspect. Uh, Quite a few places are now embedding history over touristic places. At least, as you walk through the tourist place, they are trying to highlight the history. So they have AR markers placed at various places where it brings to life what happened in that particular time when actually when the history was being made. Oh, sorry, I wanted to. So the next one is inspection of complex designs. I think people are using AR applications. I think this was in Finland, where they are doing ship designs, and they are using augmented reality to actually assess the design of these complex ships. Finally, I think it's important to understand that a smart city is based on smart people, and I think it's important to recognize that how AR is transforming education. So AR in classroom is seen as quite a big transformation from a traditional teaching mechanism to actually using augmented reality. I think the content of what the user learns is pretty much the same, but how people have different ways of absorbing materials. Some people use textual, but I think for those people who prefer to use the visual or the interactive, AR is becoming a significant component in learning these from transforming from the traditional to new age learning. I think that's what I call as from the textual to the visual to the interactive. IEEE say itself has a. Does anybody have water here? Okay. IEEE itself has a fairly strong focus on emerging technologies. I think we are looking at various segments here. Every vertical within the smart city ecosystem has a development of a particular standard. Within the augmented reality space itself, we have the industry connection program, and also we have new standards that are enabling the AR solutions. So it's sometimes, when we identify the standards, timing is extremely critical. Sometimes you can develop a standard that's too early and may not make it to the market. So you can always inhibit innovation. And starting a standard too late means that you already missed the boat. You are trying to play catch up. So within the IEEE, we have a little bit of work happening on different segments. One is we did a series of industry events in 2014 that led to the creation of a working group on IEEE 1589, which is augmented reality learning experience models that was launched in early 2015. In fact, there's a specific talk tomorrow on what that particular standard is doing. But apart from that, we have two industry connections program. One is on smart glasses. We have a panel on smart glasses tomorrow, and also on the AR application on the oil and gas industry. My last slide here, we do work with a number of partners. We continuously host events and workshops. One of them we did last year was in conjunction with EPRI on the use of AR in energy utilities. And also we hosted an oil and gas workshop in collaboration with the Industrial Applications Society. So I think mobile AR applications, I think there is a future where we are combining the IoT infrastructure like the drones and wireless communications along with AR technology to deliver smart cities for the future. Thank you.